Guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing an amazing run I've made in the Retro Cup, featuring Poliwrath, Altaria, and Charjabug. Now, I showcased a team 2 days ago, featuring Codilly in this team. I have changed it out to Altaria, because what I've noticed is, at the higher elos, I'm seeing way less lanterns, I'm seeing almost no mud boys, and the rock coverage is not really working as well for me. You do still see, of course, some Arctobacs and some Dragons, but I thought that Altaria would just be a much better option. Basically, Altaria is the Pokemon that can beat all our dragons. It's super bulky. It is a little bit slower to the Sky Attack now, since they nerfed Noctowl and collaterally nerfed Altaria. As I always say, guys, they need to give this Pokemon a new move, whether it be Aurelius or Fly. I think that'd be very cool for Altaria. But guys, with this team, we've ended up getting very high on the leaderboards. I actually just hit Veteran today with this team. I've been running it for about 3 days, and it's been working exceptionally well up at the higher elos. I'm up in the top 150 in the world, which is quite a great achievement for me. And as you're going to see, we go on an 11-game winning streak, and a lot of the teams I faced are actually quite negative for this. It's quite a fun video, guys. Make sure to drop a like, man. Top 150 in the world. Considering I started playing Go Battle League just over a year ago, only hit Legend for the first time 3 seasons ago, I'm super happy with that improvement, and it's been amazing having you guys along for the ride, seeing the ups and downs. Of course, there's a long time left in the season, and probably next week I'll be complaining about getting RPS'd in the Christmas Cup or whatever, but you know, that's how it goes. We might as well enjoy the good times here, and yeah, once again, guys, thank you for the support in the videos. We're going to hop into the battles, and you're going to see some familiar faces in here as well, which should be pretty cool. So in this match right here, I make an insane catch. I wait 3 turns and then catch in Poly. The opponent throws the Sky Attack. That is super vital. We still have a shield here, but as you can see, the opponent will get off one more move with the Altaria. They were building up close to back, so I had to catch that move, and yeah, we're going to commit to this farm down. We now have 2 X-Scissors, and back in comes the Deoxys. Now, the Deoxys was not far off a move, so if we end up discharging the Altaria and having to shield, the Deoxys probably comes back in and does something, so very, very good catch. In the next game, another negative lead, we have Medicham. We're going to stay in here for a while. Usually they're on Dynamic Punch. What I like to do is go for the Scald on 8. The opponent actually goes for the CMP tie, the Charge Attack Priority event. That gets him quite low, and I decide, okay, we're going to shield up one potential Psychic or Dynamic Punch. And we're going to basically look to go for another CMP tie, or so the opponent thinks. We go for a catch on Altaria. I'm pretty sure they're just going to go straight Dynamic Punch. No reason to be in that situation. I thought the opponent was trying to play at the zeros, and in comes an All Counter user, which is quite interesting. Now, of course, Vigoroth with the move update knows Rock Slide. However, Altaria is super bulky, lives that very, very comfortably. We even get off another Sky Attack. I could have went for Moonblast, but I wanted to keep the threat alive, that I might get to another move. The opponent actually lets it go. Now, typically, guys, whenever you have a Pokemon in the front that hard counters the swap, they sometimes do like to let it go. Now, we will still get a farm down with Poly, but actually we come in with Charjabug and get a full switch through. In comes Double, so yeah, they have 2 Pokemon in the back that are super weak to counter, and then of course you have Medicham in the lead, which is typically there to beat all our fighters, except for Deoxys, so pretty standard team comp, and I'm definitely very happy I kept my Poly alive. We let this move go, and we're basically looking to, get off as many X-Scissors as possible. The best timing you can possibly go for is 2 and 5 against a free turn move. I go for the Wombo combo here with the Icy Wind, expecting the opponent to shield us up. They actually do let it go, which is quite smart, and come back in with Medi. Now, I don't want to necessarily get taken out, because Poly can still put in a lot of work. These counters are going to do an absolute ton of damage, and we still live any one move from the double. The opponent still has a shield, I still have a shield. So if we get those counters through, even if they take us out, we can just Volt Switch it down, and that's good game. So we overcame that negative lead, and we actually get a positive lead, but it's not super positive. Licky can be a little bit awkward here. Now, what I decide to do here is go straight for the Scald. It takes them 17 turns for their Power Whip, and we're on 16 turns here. I wait a turn and catch an Altaria, so we're going to catch a full Power Whip on the Altaria, which is pretty unfortunate for the opponent. They come into their own Altaria, and I'm thinking, okay, so now that we're behind in health, we probably can't take Switch, but I do add Pace to the first move. So that is something. We should get at least a shield advantage here. And I think the opponent might be trying to commit to the farm down. I don't think I'm getting to the move. The opponent, yeah, they knew that they could just commit to the farm down. Now, I'm thinking here, I can probably get 1 Volt Switch through and pretty much take them out. The opponent has not for a move yet. They'll be close to back, and unfortunately, they do get off both moves. So I decided, yeah, we'll shield 1. If it's a Moonblast, we'll shield a Moonblast. If not, we can eat 1 Sky Attack. 2 Sky Attacks will be getting us very low, and Charjabug just has a ton of play against a lot of these teams. In comes Cofagrigus. This is not a great thing for us to see, and the opponent goes for a catch as well. I go for a complete undercharge here, and I think I come back into Poly to go for the farm down. Now I can get this farm down with Poly, and I can permanently debuff the Kofa and put them in a very awkward position. The opponent has to go for Shadow Ball here. If they go for Dark Pulse, we'll clearly live it. And, you know, even at this point, it was a CMP tie as well, which is fantastic. I actually decide to shield again, because I can further debuff the opponent. The opponent's dry, so we can look to go for this next Icy Wind, which is basically going to guarantee that the opponent needs to throw 2 moves on the Charjabug. So we should be in a very, very good position here. The opponent does go for Massive Overfarm, and if they go for Dark Pulse here, it does not KO. They have to go for the Shadow Ball. They do oblige and go for it. And at this point, guys, they're so low with the Icy Winds and the counters that one discharge should KO, and that's good games. So definitely Kofa and Licky can be very tricky for this team. However, we got the alignment we needed, and that was perfectly fine. We're going to hop into the next battle here, and we're actually playing Horov, who's a Regionals winner. Now, my team does very, very well into his. I've played him 3 times, and he must absolutely hate me at this point. If you're watching somehow, or if you see this, I'm sorry. My team is just so RPS to your line. But yeah, we basically overfarm. There was a little bit of lag there, so we got the free counter through. The 2 following times I've played him, he's thrown in perfect timing. But it was laggy in this first match, and basically what I like to do here, shield once, counter it the whole way down. And of course, this is the first time I'm playing him, so I don't know what it is, but that's generally the strat with Poly. The opponent's up a shield, however, we can get off a Scald here, which is going to do heavy damage onto the Oranguru. And of course, we want to get our Charjabug on here. The opponent shields it and gets the attack drop. Pretty unfortunate. I think I've been very fortunate against him with attack drops as well. Now, anticipating the catch, we hold onto our energy and come straight into Altaria. In the zeros, Licky just about wins this because Altaria, the pacing is a little bit slower now. You do want to go for 2 Sky attacks here. If you can only get off 1 move, you do go for the Moonblast, of course. The opponent's going to get off 2 Body Slams, which basically puts us into not quite Lick Down range, but I think it doesn't allow us to get off another move. Oftentimes, if I get this Licky Tongue swap, I like to chip with Charjabug first, because as you can see here, yeah, I think the opponent, yeah, they do just outpace. But this is perfect for me at this point, because I basically don't want to get farmed down. All I need to do is farm up to back-to-back. Yeah, so the Oranguru comes back in. They do have some energy here, and I'm actually going to go for a 1 and throw here as well on the CMP time. By the way, Charjabug comfortably lives 2 foul plays. It's a non-stab. From this range, we could definitely live 1. In comes Licky Tongue again, and yeah, we do outpace because we went for the overfarm. Good games, well played. Like I said, pretty RPS backline, but that's what Charjabug's good for. There are a lot of Psychics in this cup, whether it be Deoxys, Medicham, Oranguru. It's just looking very, very good for this Pokemon. Jellicent lead, absolutely dreadful lead. We come straight into Altaria, and the opponent comes straight into Dragonair. I don't think that was the correct play by the opponent. They do go for the move. I think I'm going to look to commit to the entire farm down. As you can see, we've got them in the yellow before they get off their first move. So, oh, okay, I probably could have committed to the farm down, but I was trying to see if I could get a shield back, I guess. I guess I got scared and threw the move. I think I could have committed to that. And yeah, in comes Arctibax. So once again, we've got a Pokemon weak to counter in the back. Poly's going to absolutely rip the swing to shreds. We can live any one move here. And I'm expecting the opponent to swap out here at some point. What I will do though, is yeah, just commit to this counter down. Look to go for an Icy Wind. And the funny thing here is, the opponent knows how annoying these Icy Wind debuffs can be. They do not yet know what my final Pokemon is, and they're actually forced to throw a move here because they don't want to get permanently double debuffed, which is the power of Poliwrath, even against Jellicent here. They did have to throw the Shadow Ball there, unfortunately. It's such a waste of energy, it feels like, throwing the Shadow Ball in the low health Poly, but it's such a nuisance. And at that point, guys, we've got them double debuffed. There's basically nothing they can do. And yeah, I said it was a mistake coming in Dragonair. I guess it didn't have many better options. In this first set, guys, 5-0. Amazing start to the video. And actually, I won the 2 games beforehand, so I'm actually currently on a 7-game winning streak. Now, in comes Frostlass. Technically, what you would think is like kind of negative, right? They resist counters, but this match is not even bad for Poly. They go for the catch, and I go for the Scald. I'm kind of hoping to get the debuff, but if I could just get the damage through, this is perfectly fine. The opponent basically here, okay, they don't go for the Grass Knot immediately, but I did want to build back up. The matchup between Charjabug and Crest can get a bit awkward. You do outpace it though, and of course the X scissors plus the Volt switches do roughly like 50%, right? So if you land 2, you win. So at this point, we still have a ton of health left on the Charjabug. We can do a lot of work with it here on pretty much anything that comes in. Charjabug super neutral, like in comes Frostlass. They have to throw here because they know that this can put in so much damage, and I decide to shield for that exact reason. Now, I probably could have went for baits here, because this would chunk the Frost anyway. But yeah, I'm happy enough just to basically get a shield down. Look to force the opponent to throw again. Yep, they're throwing another move. And this puts it into a more comfortable range where I can start countering it. And yeah, of course, oh, in comes Jellicent. So the match between Jellicent and Altaria, I think is slightly favourable for Jellicent, but we're basically, I think, looking to shield up the first Shadow Ball. It's never really going to be a bait, and look to get off 2 Sky attacks if possible. Our Poliwrath is getting a little bit lower, so we might be just outside of Shadow Ball range. What I am thinking though is, if I can force the Frost to throw in this, we should be in a good spot. You're going to see this next Shadow Ball does a decent amount of damage here. Gets down into the yellow. I'm going to commit to the farm down. Now, I make a mistake here. I tried to go for a 1 and throw, which is exactly what I did, and the opponent done a Powder Snow, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know how they managed to CMP that, but they do further energy, and at this point, guys, we could just go straight Icy Wind. We do live a Shadow Ball, and we're just basically going to commit to the counters here. The opponent lets it go, knowing that they have to basically call a move. And we go for another one here as well, just to absolutely guarantee it. And yeah, this is basically good games. The opponent's going to have to build up to 2 moves, and there's just unfortunately not enough time, so good games well played. Yeah, Poly tanks it like a beast. Poliwrath is such a good Pokemon after these buffs, in Ultra League especially, but even in the Great League, it's such a fantastic Pokemon. Now, interesting lead here. they can get to the Outrage in 20 turns. We just go for the immediate Icy Wind, lower the Dragon Breath damage, and basically if they go straight for the Outrage, we can Icy Wind and counter the whole way down. Because they're a joint water type, it's only neutral damage, but you can see how much damage we've got through, and you can see that these Dragon Breaths are adding up a way less now. The opponent goes for an aggro swap into DD, and we come straight into our Charge Bug here. Now the opponent does no Rock Slide, typically in this meta, so I decided to respect the first move here. Rock Slide coming through, and I'm thinking it could possibly be double Psychic. I've seen a lot of double Psychic lines in this meta. If it is double Psychic, the opponent absolutely does not want my Charge Bug on their back line. Charge Bug, one of the best answers to things like a Oranguru and Deoxys in the meta. Of course, I do know the hard-hitting Rock Slide on Deoxys, but generally speaking, Charge Bug very, very neutral in this meta and hits a lot of things for super effective. Now, the opponent takes this out, which is absolutely perfect here. This gives us a farm down, and it means that they're not farming us down with something. We come in with Altaria to get the Dragon Breaths through, and we come straight into Polying, straight for the debuff. I probably could have built up to the move to basically threaten it, because the opponent, I guess they were a little bit off track there. But yeah, I decided that I need to be able to live one Avalanche. And yeah, this is kind of awkward. They go for the triple axle. Does that mean we get to the next move? That was definitely a little bit too greedy by the opponent there. They have reboosted their attack, and I kind of need to get a debuff again. We do get it, so definitely very fortunate. I do wonder if triple axle would KO the Altaria from full damage. Let's have a look here. Triple axle, yeah. So I'm not even sure if that fully KO, even if it's like full strength. Now at this point, guys, we farm down the Kingdra. We do not throw a move there, and we throw the move instantly on the Deoxys when it comes back. Good games well played. Definitely some good luck there. But of course, we've had our bad luck as well. You know, it goes in roundabouts, doesn't it? Like, you might have a lot of debuffs, but today, like, somebody got 2 crunch debuffs in a row plus a skull debuff in 3 consecutive charge moves. So that's what happens sometimes. You get some good luck and bad luck. In comes Dragonair. Yeah, we're going to basically play this the normal way. A lot of times the opponent do give you the free counter. If you do get to higher elos, people start throwing at better timing, 1 before you get to the move instead of 2. On this occasion, I decided to go for an aggro swap, and in comes an Arctobax. Once again, guys, when it comes to these farm downs, Altaria is so good at this. On this occasion, I decided that the farm and Poly is probably more valuable here, and I don't think they're getting to another Dragon Claw if I just commit to the counters. So we're going to go for it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They just died with the move, basically. And if they come back with Dragonair, it's going to be looking rough for them. They'll basically be forced to shield. Yeah, we go straight for the move, and I think at this point we just aggro swap into our Charge Bug. The opponent lets it go, quite surprisingly, and in comes a Vigoroth. This is a little bit awkward. The opponent has Rock Slide, so I basically have to make a call here. If they bait me once, the opponent wins, but at this point, yeah, they go for the Rock Slide, and we're now in Body Slam range, so this is looking very tricky. Now we're up to back-to-back moves, and I'm thinking, yeah, the opponent just basically double Body Slams, but the opponent lets that through, actually giving me a win con, because I would have had to throw another 2 moves there. And I think here the opponent actually ends up dying with the Body Slam. We commit to the Volt Switches. I think they just got to the Body Slam as the Volt Switch went through. So good games. I tried calling the bait. Unfortunately, it worked out for us. Now Charizard lead with Dragon Breath. Such an interesting lead. Finally, the Community Day move's getting some usage here. We're going to shield up the first move. Like to go for an Icy Wind immediately. Lower the Dragon Breath damage. I go for a 1 and throw, just in case they do want to go for a catch. But Poly definitely wins this very comfortably. You actually don't even need to shield in this matchup. I'm going for an overfarm as well. I'm expecting the opponent to go for a CMP. They do not throw, and they actually let the Charizard go and don't even get off the move. So we're in an amazing position. In comes Deoxys, and I decide, okay, we're going to go for an Icy Wind, debuff this thing. And what I decide here at this point is that they have a ton of energy. What's going to absorb energy better, Altaria or Charge Bug? They could just unload all their energy in Charge Bug, and at that point, I won't be able to take it out anymore. So I decide, okay, come in with Altaria, eat the Rock Slides, so they're debuffed, and in comes Gradient, and this is amazing. This is exactly where we want to see this Pokemon. This thing is on Mudshot, so you're going to see they're going to have to throw at least 3 Body Slams to take me out. I'm going to go straight for the Sky Attack. I'm thinking, like, if I go for Moonblast, they're just going to shield it. Pretty obvious. Altaria, okay, they just no-shield it, so it is what it is. I would have needed 2 moves either way, so I'm pretty happy with this situation. And I know that they cannot Mudshot me down. Now, looking at the Gradient's health, I should be in a fine position. All I need to do is come in with Charge Bug, basically shield nothing. The opponent still has the threat of the Psycho Boost, or of course the Rock Slide. I need to come in here, commit to the farm down, and basically throw 2 moves on DD. The opponent will probably get to 2 moves here, which will get me quite low, but the DD is not going to be able to counter me down, and this should basically be good games. Even if they CMP me on the first one, we just shield back, and yeah, this X-Scissor from this range should KO. So good games well played, and once again, Charge Bug just sweeping like an absolute boss. I think the key thing in that matchup was recognizing that if I come in with my Charge Bug, they're going to start unloading moves on it, and it can definitely not take hits as well as Altaria. So we're using Altaria as a damage sponge in this situation, and it was a very, very good call. The opponent does not really like Dragon Breath Pokemon on Deoxys because Deoxys has a very high defense stat, but a very low HP stat, so one-turn moves like Dragon Breath or anything else completely rip through Deoxys. Generally speaking, they don't really want to stay in there. They're unaware that we have Charjabug in the back, which is a very hard wall for it. So yeah, all I needed to do was basically get it into farm down range, and we're in a very good position. In this next one, we have a Frostlass lead. Pretty decent lead for Polly, even though it is a negative matching in terms of Ghost versus Fighter. You would think it's pretty bad, but the joint ice typing and how glassy this Pokemon is means that we're outpacing it. The Powder Snows are doing nothing. We shield up the first move, and we're going to look to go for a big dirty Scald on this thing. One Scald gets him down to about 10% health, so his opponent's going to be very, very low. I think I decided at this point, we've got the debuff, we're going to let it through. Even if we don't have the debuff, we can live this move comfortably, so this is basically irrelevant. Now, if the opponent comes into Lantern, we insta-swap. That's something you need to do in this team. Insta-swap if you see a Lantern, and I come into Kofagrigus, which is not really a great answer for Altaria Eiler. As you're about to see here, we very, very comfortably live with Shadow Ball, and we can basically look to threaten 2 Sky attacks. The opponent will be forced to throw pretty soon here. Now, since the opponent has a Lantern, we're basically going to wait our timeout after this and come in with Polly. Basically look to go for the debuff. The opponent allows me to get off the next one. That's pretty huge for me here. That means they're basically shieldless at this point, or very, very low in health. This is absolutely perfect. They commit to the farm down. I think I just throw in the Polly here, and Icy Wind CMP. Now, the opponent has an absolute ton of energy, so I try to deny it all here. The opponent actually ends up shielding it, and I'm like, okay, bro, that's no problem at all. They go for Dark Pulse, and they end up getting an extra Shadow Claw free here on the Charger. So at this point, guys, I think the opponent might have a move. I'm not 100% sure at this point. I sort of lost track of energy a little bit, but I was about 99% sure they had a move. Now, this matchup between Charger and Lantern in the zeros is generally quite positive for Charger, because as you can see, you basically outpace the moves. But does this serve KO? That's the problem. Look how low we're getting. We basically need to trust in the fact that Charger can live this move. I pretty much need to commit to the Volt Switch down, and yeah, very, very comfortable live in the end. Very, very good that I'm just tracking energy, right? It's very easy to just be like, okay, yeah, we'll just shield up, whatever. If I had have done that, I definitely would have lost that match, so good games well played to the opponent. And that's another 5-0, guys, another 5-0. And that actually puts us right up to the 24-69. Now, in the following 2 sets, I had a lot of rough matches. I ended up going 2-3 2 times. But in the final set, I believe I go 4-1 here. Now, we're playing a fellow Northern Irishman, Lurgan Rocket. Shout out to Lurgan. It's actually, if you guys didn't know, it's a place in Northern Ireland, but he goes for the swap into Frost. And I've made the mistake of coming straight into Charger. You definitely want to stay in here and mess around with this for a while. We're going to go for a Scald here. And, you know, if they go for the move, that's absolutely fine. In the 1-to-1 shield, it's much more comfortable for Charger. I decided to eat the move on here because, of course, they have a double in the lead, which is very, very comfortable for Poliwrath. So it is possible it could be in Wild Charge as well. So it could be a little bit dicey. I'm thinking, like, in this meta, you probably do want Wild Charge. Payback would definitely be nice for things like all of the DD leads that we're seeing. We'll see what the opponent decides to do here. We're going to go for another X-Scissor in 2, which is good timing, but of course, I'm just getting the move off immediately here. This is going to put them very low, and at this point, guys, they're going to go for a 1-and-throw, actually go for a 2-and-throw, hoping that this move takes out, and they basically get an extra double kick for free. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite KO, and then comes Cresselia. They've got 2 shields, we've got a ton of energy in Polly, and at this point, guys, they basically have to Moonblast us. We're going to go for the Icy Wind. From this range, 1 Grass Knot will not KO. I'm basically just going to stay in here, force the energy, because if I double debuff a Cresselia, pretty much anything can deal with it. You're going to see that they do get to a Moonblast against the Altaria, but by the time they get it off, double debuffed, it just does nothing. It does like 30% at this point. I think they throw the move just to kind of have a look, like, do I have any chance of winning this? And I think after seeing this damage, it done like 25%. They probably realize, yeah, I'm going to have to throw another 3 of these to potentially KO, and we'll just Dragon Breath down in that time. Good games well played. And hopping into the next battle, we have Poliwrath versus Dragonair. I do like the Dragonair lead because you can basically force alignment with this Pokemon. We're going to go for the Overfarm as always. See if the opponent wants to try and go for the CMP. They've thrown good timing here, and we're going to shield up the first move as always. There's a very noticeable difference in how much health Poliwrath has whenever you insta-throw this move, and also whenever the opponent throws in bad timing. Getting those extra counters through, especially if they try to CMP the last one, you just end up with a ton of health. Now at this point, we have got a decent amount of health, and we play this the same every time. If it's a Lantern, we come into our Altaria, store the energy, they come into Licky. I could have went for the debuff there potentially. I did go for the aggro swap. I decided basically just to bank the energy, get this low, and farm it down with Charger, and basically hope to snipe something in the end. This is a little bit uncomfortable for Altaria, so I think, okay, the opponent's probably going to save a shield for whatever's in the back. Licky is generally the safe swap, so most likely, knowing that I've got a Poliwrath with loaded energy, I should let this move go. They end up shielding it. Every time I think that, they shield. Every time I don't think it, they no shield. So it's one of them ones. We end up CMPing on the next Sky attack. So either way, we're going to get free heavy damage on this thing, and basically put it into a perfect farm down range for Charger. We get free 1 Volt Switch. I think they might even get off 1 more Body Slam here, but this is perfectly... Oh, they don't even get it off. So this is absolutely perfect. They come into a Cresselia. I am anticipating the catch. They do catch it whenever I go 1 over. So the opponent knows that I'm thinking about the catch, but I know that they know, and they know that I know, so it's just one of them ones. I come in with Polly, and I decide to go for raw damage here. As you can see, the Cresselia is pretty healthy, and 1 X-Scissor does not KO. Now, I should be able to live 2 Moonblasts from this range. This is going to be getting quite close though. I wonder, had I went for the debuff? Yeah, that's doing almost 50%. Can we actually get both of these moves off in time? Or do we even need to get both of these moves off? As you can see, that X-Scissor doesn't quite KO. You do really need to throw the second one. Does this Moonblast KO me? It does. And that's the end of the win streak, guys. We went on an 11-game win streak with this team. And like I said, 2 before. So I've got my highest win streak of the season at 13, which is a great thing to get. My highest win streak in the lower elos was 8. So it is really nice. I'm getting my win streak sort of towards the higher elo ranges, which is always a nice thing. In comes Miltank. Now, I think I make a misplay here. I think I end up double shielding the Altaria. Miltank can learn Ice Beam, so I was a little bit afraid of the Ice Beam here, and I go straight for another Sky Attack. I wonder, could I have went for the Moonblast here instead? That doesn't KO, of course. Miltank is fairly bulky, and at this point I'm like, man, I kind of want to get the alignment. I think they might have something else in the back that's weak to counter, and yeah, we're down 2 shields at this point, so even though we've taken alignment, I don't know, maybe I should have called the first move. In comes Talonflame, so I'm like, okay, we actually might have a chance here, because we can get off 1 Sky Attack. It more or less forces the shield off the opponent. Yep, boom. But we are just in such an awkward position. I come in with the Poly to basically absorb the damage. They go for Fly, it doesn't KO. Can we get off the move in time? Yeah, the opponent decides to throw the move, knowing the Poly lives a couple of moves, and we'll be able to get off the Icy Wind, which would be very annoying for the opponent. Now, I think right here, I come back in with Altaria, basically try to force them to throw again. They're not really going to be able to incinerate us the whole way down, and now I've got this in a range where this Talonflame's not really much of a problem anymore. 2 or 3 Volt Switches should KO from here, and the opponent still has a shield, so this is looking a bit awkward. They get 2 through, so I think they're 1 off the move. This is looking a little bit tricky. I decide, okay, we're going to just go for an overfarm here. If the opponent shields, we'll double throw, and basically, okay, we need to commit to the farm down at this point. Is the opponent on a move or not? They are not. Luckily enough for me, they're not at the move, and that's good games. So we're back on the winning side of things again. Like I said, I went 2-3 in the following 2 sets. As you can see, we're on 24-54. We're playing another fantastic battler, Tokyo, who's a very high-ranked player from Japan, and we're going to look to go for a Scald here. Now, you can see in this team, we now have 2 answers to Deoxys, which was a problem with the Credilli team. You just didn't have a strong answer in the back to it, apart from Chargebug. You basically did not have a safe swap against DD. I decided to call it. Somebody rock-slided me earlier. I decided to call it, and they're going to go for Psycho Boost number 2. However, there are Dry at this point, and he should be able to get to Scald, so I should be able to maybe take alignment here. We go for a CMP tie on the potential Psycho Boost, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do. They do let it through, and we do take alignment. It is Licky in the back. This is a little bit tricky. I think we'll come in with Altaria, because they're hidden energy, and basically look to absorb the body slams, get off as much damage as possible, and pretty much hope that they're core broken by Chargebug. Something else in the back that's weak to Chargebug is pretty much what I need. The opponent gets off the next body slam, that's perfectly fine. Now, I'm wondering, do they want to preserve this Licky, or are they going to put it all on whatever's in the back? I decided to go for Moonblast. I don't think I'm getting off 2 moves, and I realize that Sky Attack does not KO, neither does this. In comes a Vigoroth, so how do you went for Sky Attack? We actually get another Sky Attack off, so I actually might be in with a chance here. The Sky Attack coming through will do a lot of damage, and yeah, we're in the 1-to-1 shields. Now, I might have to make a call here. Do they go double Rock Slide, or do they go for Body Slam? I called it before. I'm going to actually shield it this time. It's a very good shield by me here. And at this point, guys, I don't think they get to 2 Rock Slides, or if they do, I do live it. So I think we're actually maybe fine here. We're getting off this next move on CMP. From here, I don't think X's are quite KOs, but Rock Slide does not either. I don't think the opponent can get to a Body Slam at this point. We go for the X-Scissor, and at this point, guys, the Licky Tongue is super, super low. We're pretty much committing to fast moves. The opponent gets off the move. Super, super unfortunate here. Can Altaria outfarm the Licky? Yes, it does. Dragon Breath's too OP, and we outfarm the Vigoroth as well. Good games well played. Our low health Altaria, with those extra Dragon Breaths, definitely put in the work there. Hopping into the next one, we have Poliwrath versus Double. Fantastic lead here. I'm wondering, is it the same as Lurgan Rocket's team, and they actually come into the Jellicent? So this can be a little bit awkward, so I actually don't mind shielding the first move here. Shadow Ball does about 50%. I'm expecting him to YOLO it and then try to start fighting for Switch. I go for a 2-and-4 on the discharge. I'm not messing about. I'm not going to go for baits or anything, because I've already shielded. I've already given them something out of this matchup. And yeah, at this point, I'm happy enough to eat whatever this is. I think it might just be a Surf. It is just a Surf, so as you can see, that Surf done quite a lot. And we go for a 2-and-4 on the double as well. The Surf done a decent amount, so Shadow Ball definitely would have put us very low. I'm going to get these moves off immediately, in case they want to go for a CMP time. They could have very easily went for a 1-and-throw, and basically deny me a full X-Scissor, which as you see is getting me a shield here. I would have got them quite low. Are they committing to it? No, they're not. Chargebug, an absolute beast, hitting so hard with these X-Scissors, which by the way, if you didn't know, is actually a Surf clone. So it's like basically throwing stab Surfs at these Pokemon. We come in with this. Now I have to make a call here. Is the opponent in wild charge? They are. That was an amazing call. And in comes Kofa. So I realized at this point, okay, we're going to debuff this thing, allow us to live 2 Shadow Balls, and we should be able to take care of it with the Altaria. They actually end up shielding it, of course not wanting to eat the heavy damage, and we're in an amazing position now. One Sky Attack will more or less KO this thing, and what we really need to hope for is that Double does not get to the the Wild Charge and Poly. If they get to Wild Charge and Poly, it's probably game over for us here. Shadow Ball coming through. I'm going to overfarm and overfarm, allow them to get us as low as possible, and then look to go for the big Moonblast to land the most amount of damage. I did not want to give the opponent any farm. I stop attacking, and then for some reason I shit myself. I think they might have got off a Shadow Ball. I think that's why I got scared. And the opponent is getting to the Wild Charge. So super unfortunate. They do get to this move. However, Poly does live at 1 HP. Some very close games, and I think I made a mistake there. I allowed the opponent to get a farm down, which oftentimes can be your demise. Now, back to this lead again. We absolutely love it. We can guarantee to take switch. Oftentimes they have Lantern in the back. If not, we can just let it go down, get off a heavy damage on something, instantly go for the Icy Wind. You can play this one of 2 ways. You can either go for the Icy Wind and basically look to counter them the whole way down, like shield twice, counter down, take the alignment, which in these limited metas I am usually a fan of, or you can basically just let this go through, farm it down with Altaria, or farm it down with Charjabug. It's up to your own playstyle. Like I'm in with Cresselia, I decide, okay, we need to safe swap out of here. We sort of do have 2 answers to it, and we'll try to draw something out of the back that might be a little bit weak to Poly, just so we can put that damage to good use. Now in comes this Lickitung. Dude, this Lickitung is such a pain in the ass. Such a good Pokemon in this meta. If you don't have an Altaria, or if you don't want to use Altaria, I think that would be a fine replacement. I'm committing to the Moonblast. This is going to do an absolute ton of damage if they let this through. I'm really hoping the shield here so I can just basically come in and YOLO the Scald, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. Come in, YOLO the Scald. So at this point, guys, once again, the Charjabug is hidden in the back. The opponent is unaware of this thing. They're like, okay, we'll get rid of this Poly, and hopefully Crest can sweep whatever's in the back, right? We come in with the Charger. They actually stay in here and let me get the Volt Switch through, and of course get the Body Slam off. Which, you know, if you swap straight out, they're getting off 2 Body Slams. The opponent just had so much energy. However, they're giving me like 2 Volt Switches advantage on the Crest, and basically we need 2 X-Scissors to KO. We go for a CMP on this one. Can we once again live this move? We're much more healthy this time, I think. Do we live this move? It's going to be very close. And can we even farm down the Licky? It's a Grass Knot, guys. It is Grass Knot. Now we're on a decent amount of health, and we should be able to farm down the Licky. 1-turn moves are always scary. But Charjabug's decently thick, and yeah, I paced them just about. Okay, that was too close. These matches are getting too close. So many close battles, and as you can see in this final set here, we are currently 3 out of 4. In comes a Dirty D lead. Not what you want to see. Not what you want to see when you're trying to go 4-1 here. I'm getting very close to leaderboard elo. I'm going to stay in here, hang out for a little while, throw off a Scald, and as you can see from the Scald, it gets them down to like below 50%. We go for the insta-catch. They don't throw immediately. And in comes Gligar. This is Shadow Gligar, so Shadow Gligar does beat Altaria in the once. However, we can basically get shields off it. We no-shield the first move, of course, and we're going to look to fire off the Sky Attack just before they reach the next move. This will all but KO them, so they pretty much have to shield this. Now, I've got a shield advantage, and I think I'm looking to be in a decent spot. I was either going to live on 1 HP or die, so I decide, okay, I'll put up the shield, try to take the alignment here. We're on 1-to-1 shields, and I'm going to look to apply pressure immediately, because Dragon Breaths on Deoxys is not pleasant. They come into a Trevenant of all things. This is a little bit sticky. I decide they might go for a Seed Bomb to KO me here. So I do end up going for the catch and Charjabug. I decide to let this move through, and yeah, this is looking a little bit sticky. They still have a Deoxys there. It's fairly healthy, it has some energy. And the opponent of course shields up this move. Do I get to the next X-Scissor in time? I do get to 1 HP. So many 1 HP lives here. This is absolutely huge. This doesn't quite KO the Trevenant, but I think what I decide to do here is come in with Altaria, shield up once. I know the opponent's not at a move yet. Get these Dragon Breaths through, and then yeah, as you can see, we just get to the Sky Attack. If the opponent throws a move here, we should be able to take care of it with Poly, so good games. We catch the move in Poly as well. And as you're about to see, we do have a Psycho Boost here anyway, so yeah, that's good games well played. Absolutely unnecessary Psycho Boost catch, but you have to get the little flex in for the 4-1. Guys, thank you very much for watching. As you can see on screen here, we've got quite a high leaderboard placement. First time ever in the top 150. Super proud of that, considering I started Go Battle League a year ago. Had so many struggles trying to get better with the game, and if you guys were following along last season, very rough season for me, where I was up and down from 2900 elo, dropping down to 2400, and now here we are, a week and a half into the season at basically Veteran. I played some battles today, I ended up hitting Veteran. I guess I'll throw in one match here, just so we can hit Veteran in this video. I'm not sure if I'll showcase this team anymore on YouTube this week, because of course the cups will be rotating soon, but highly recommend this team, guys. It's very strong. If you don't want to use Altaria, go for Lickitung or Cresselia instead. I think that's also a good option. But Poliwrath and Charjabug as a core, super strong. And hopefully this video gives you some sort of tips and everything, because we had a lot of bad leads at the start. In that 11 game winning streak, We had like Jellicents, Deoxys, Medichams, definitely some very awkward Pokemon, but as you're seeing, like Poliwrath can stand against pretty much everything. The only stuff that you really cannot stay into is pretty much Cresselia, and I want to say things like the Confusion users. Those are very, very awkward for it. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, of course drop a like, it helps out the videos a ton. Drop me a comment down below. And once again guys, thank you very much for all the support on the videos. It's very much appreciated. We have a Discord community where all of us are trying to learn, trying to get better, doing streams, sharing info and teams with each other, so feel free to join that. And yeah, we hit veteran super early in the season. Super proud of it, and hopefully I don't just completely crash within the next while, but I most likely will. I am focusing more on making videos this season as opposed to gaining elo, but it is really fun, and I do really enjoy playing at these higher levels, so hopefully we get a bit of a mixture of both. Thank you very much everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day, I'll catch you all next time.